A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 63.
All big changes start with a swift kick in the ass. Join the journey of lifelong friends, John Curren and Tom Stewart, as they make conventional thought bend over and take a boot to the keister. Warning, listeners may notice a force equal to or greater than needed to get your ass moving. A swift kick in the ass, living life on your terms.
Welcome, I'm Tom Stewart, and I'm joined with my lifelong childhood friend, John Curren. And today's topic, the Irishman who can't drink beer or eat potatoes. So we all say we want to make changes in our life, and we often seek the answer to how we will change. What happens when you get an answer you really don't want to follow through with? John's here to answer the question.
You know, Tom, it's tough. And it's true. I'm an Irishman who is not supposed to eat white potatoes and anything with brewer's yeast in it, which Guinness, my favorite beer, has. Now, you're probably wondering how I found this out. I went to an allergist recently, about 2 weeks ago. And the reason I went to the allergist is because, not to go, in depth with health issues, but I've had lower back pain. I've had some issues with my hands, and I also have really narrow nasal passages. Hopefully you can hear it in my voice now that I'm speaking a little clearer and I'm not so nasally.
I thought I was speaking to Barry White for a second.
You're a kid, Tom. That's the best I can do.
It sounds like Chef off South Park.
You just had to leave that open, didn't you? The chocolatey, salty balls the Chef asked for. Anyhow, we're getting off track. So I have had some issues that are inflammatory processes in my body, and I wanted to get the answers to that, to see if maybe I could help connect the dots. And going to the allergist seemed just like the most logical thing to do. Let's see if I was allergic to some type of food. And what I found out is I'm allergic to a whole bunch of different foods. I'm allergic to brewer's yeast. I'm allergic to chocolate. I'm allergic to white potatoes, chicken. These foods that I've eaten all of my life, and also cow's milk. I found out I'm allergic to. Now, obviously, I've been eating these things all my life. I'm not going to die from it. I'm sensitive to these foods, so I could just continue on eating them. And quite honestly, after I found this out, got the report from the allergist, I looked at my pantry and I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to eat? I actually got a bit depressed. Just looking at what I had in my cupboard, I was like, and how I was used to eating, I needed to change that. I needed to eliminate those things from my diet, and it was disheartening. It sucked, just quite honestly.
Well, to put it in perspective, when I was a little kid and hung out at John's house, I remember your den. Okay, your den was not a normal den. It was a bar. Your dad had a full bar, set up with all these Irish things all over. I remember shillelagh and beer all over the place. So you grew up around that atmosphere. And I remember your dad was at every Irish event in South Florida. Your dad was either in it or running it. And It was, he was Irishman to the core. I would see him on Mardi Gras floats and, coming out of places with green beer and, the little shenanigans hats, the little, like the kind that the leprechauns wear. Your mom and dad were always out at Irish American clubs. And, so not to be able to eat potatoes or drink Guinness, I know that's a big blow to you, man.
No, it is. And because of my back pain, my chiropractor had actually prescribed Guinness to me because of the issues with my hand. I was going to switch to the paleo diet, and I said, Doc, I'm going to give up booze because I think it might help my hands. And he just shook his head. He's like, yeah, he's another Irishman. He says, don't give up the booze, John. He says, just drink some Guinness because it has magnesium in it that can help. It's an anti-inflammatory, as well as other vitamins and minerals that you can use. And plus, he said it has less calories than most American light beer. So it's good for you. Guinness is good for you. Drink
You
it.
know he's an Irish doctor. An Irish doctor prescribing beer.
It's like I'm keeping you as my doctor. You're awesome. But I have been switching to Guinness, and I have a Guinness at night, and I enjoy that. After the kids are in bed, I crack open a Guinness. It's kind of my reward for the day.
So wait, you can still drink Guinness now, even though.
Well, it didn't kill me before. I could drink, I can drink it, but honestly, I needed to eliminate it from my diet so then I could see what the difference is and see if I felt any difference. And I think that is the key to the change right there, is that you need to be able to back away from something, whether it's food or some type of activity, and see what that does to your life. And I thought I'd have a hard time with it. I mean, I have a beer every night. So, that question does come up. It's like, how difficult is this going to be? Is this something I can do? And honestly, I don't miss it. It's been 2 weeks now. I feel like I'm slimming down, and I'm already starting to see the health effects. I feel the inflammation is leaving my body.
You feel sober.
No, I wasn't getting drunk off of one beer. And to go back to my dad. Yes, my dad's an Irishman. My dad liked Irish whiskey and Guinness, and I guess that's where I got my love of it from. But on top of that, he was a chocolate salesman at one time. So
that's something you don't hear every day, man.
Yeah, remember World's Finest Chocolate? Remember how they used to go it was a fundraiser at schools.
Right.
And we used to have to go sell that. Well, we had a garage full of chocolate. And it was a rough life growing up because Dad said you couldn't have that chocolate. It's for the customers.
You know what's funny? And I don't know if this happens up in Virginia where you live, but every time I get off the exit at a certain exit here in Hollywood, there's always these kids selling M&M peanuts, right? And I was asking my wife, I was like, why is it always M&M peanuts? It's not like, any other candy. I was like, does someone in their family have like a, work at a distributor that, says, oh, these are no good past a certain date, and they bring them home for free and they're making pure profit. Maybe they're rancid.
Entrepreneurs in the making, right?
Yeah, but what it turns out, evidently the peanut M&M doesn't melt, so they don't have to worry about it melting when they're out in the hot Florida sun selling them. There might be some other reason behind it, because it just seems like there's something else. But I guess that's the reason that I've heard from other places around the country that sell them.
Yeah. So, getting back, to this change. So when I went to the allergist, I was kind of expecting an easy answer, and I did not get that at all. All of my life, I've basically eaten anything that I wanted as much as I wanted, and having that list of all these things that I'm allergic to was jarring, to say the least. It was depressing, quite honestly, and it really made me think about why I was doing this. And it wasn't like I was miserable. Obviously, none of it had killed me. None of it is making me, swell up like a balloon, or like a peanut allergy that are very serious and that can kill you. This is just a sensitivity. But I didn't go in there to, I didn't go in there with some set agenda other than I just want to be the best I can be. And if I could reduce this, stop this inflammation that's going on in my body, I want to try to do that. And it's honestly working. And I'll tell you, the greatest reward so far from this deals with my kids. And, I have two teenage daughters. Well, actually, one's a teenager, one's just turned double digits. She's 10. And they have a habit of giving me these huge bear hugs at night. And they're just at the right height to where they're like right at the small of your back. So they give you this bear hug, and I swear, Tommy, I felt like they were going to break me in two. And it hurt. And I had to tell them to stop. and that in itself is very humbling. It's like feeling your age. You're feeling like old and decrepit. And I'm not 50 yet, but I'm very close. I guess if you round up, I'm 50. And that was hard enough in and of itself to tell my kids, don't hug me so hard. It's like telling a person, don't love me so much. You're hurting me.
Right. They don't understand.
They don't. But so I guess about a week ago, my 10-year-old gives me this hug, and she was really excited. It had been a big day, and she gave me this huge bear hug. S- And you know what? It didn't hurt at all. It didn't hurt. I was like, give me another. And she gave me the biggest hug, and didn't hurt. The pain was gone. I noticed also little things like dropping a pen on the ground. That's just something common that we all do from time to time. But for me, it was actually painful to 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 kind of bend down and pick up a pen. And not so much like, woe is me, or I need to take some medication or something like that. It was just kind of a minor aggravation or something that I took as normal. And this whole experience has made me realize that our bodies are amazing. They adapt without us really even consciously being aware of it.
Well,
And
it's inflammation. Inflammation in the body is really bad for you. And that's probably what was happening is you had some inflammation. In fact, they've even found like a link between gum disease and heart disease. And its main thing is because of inflammation. You talked about the paleo diet earlier. Paleo diet's one of those diets that's supposedly good for relieving inflammation because they think that carbohydrates are a big source of it. When you mix carbohydrates with a lot of proteins and fats, not so good. But if you eat the proteins and fats by themselves, you don't get the inflammation. So that's that's just your body starting to come back to normal probably.
and also they say as you grow older, you need to change your diet because people my age, 50 years old, need a diet higher in protein, and that's to prevent muscle loss, and that's going to help keep your muscles good and strong. Now, I'm doing my push-ups, still doing my push-ups every day. I've kind of cut back. I do them at least once a day, if not, two. But I've worked in other exercises. I bought this Tower of Power. It's basically a rack to do pull-ups and
Dips
dips
and ab
and
crunches, right?
crunches. Yeah,
Yep.
and so it's amazing. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of improvement there. So I want to just be better and better and better, and force kind of I'm going to fight aging as much as I possibly can, because I've got young kids, and I want to be there for them. I don't want to be that dad just sitting, in the lounge, sitting in the reclining chair, having their kids getting everything for them,
Right, like my father, right?
like I saw happen to Tom.
Tommy, get me an iced tea.
Trim my toenails, Tom.
And I was the remote control too. Before there
You
was
were.
remote controls, I would stand by the TV, change the channel, wait, he'd see what he
No,
wanted, and then he'd be like, "Turn it a decibel louder." I had no idea what a decibel was when I was a kid.
he'd call you for like 5 minutes from across the house. Tommy, Tommy. You
So
get there.
much
What?
that our pet minor bird, who they're very good talkers, could mimic him down to a. I'd hear Tommy, and I'd come running in. What? And the my dad would say, "I didn't call you," and it was the bird. He'd say, "Tommy."
Great memories, and I loved your dad too, and certainly not putting him down, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy that just sits around. I want to be that guy that puts the 30-year-olds to shame. The 50-year-old guy, who's strong and who's fun, and and enjoys their life and lives life on their own terms. Right? That's what this show is all about. And the terms that I'm facing right now um, do deal with the food that I eat. It's a condition that I have. and I need to be aware of that. So right now I'm in the process of really renegotiating those terms, and I don't, it's been a great help. I don't know. I'm not saying I'll never have a beer again. Obviously, it didn't kill me, but I know I can't have that every night anymore. And I've just been purposely staying away from it because I feel so damn good without it. I don't need it. So I'm going to wait till a special occasion maybe or something. I don't know. I
So
haven't.
what about other, questions that you ask that you might not want to know the answer about? What do you think about that, especially when it's attributed to personal change?
Ooh, that's that's a tough one. I think when you're dealing with somebody else, asking people how they feel, that also can open you up. It makes you more vulnerable. Uh, I think if you're asking someone, are you doing something right? You might get an answer that you're not really looking for, or they might tell you something about yourself that maybe you aren't ready to accept just yet.
Yeah, you have those things. Like I do it with the podcast sometimes. I'll ask other guys in radio, and I know that they've listened to the episode. And I'll say, hey, what do you think? What can I change? How can I make it better? And sometimes you hear things and you get your feelings get hurt a little bit because you're like, oh man, I thought that part was good, but you really need to take a critical analysis and listen to what they say. What they say could be completely wrong, but it's good to get that opinion, and especially if you get it from multiple people, because then you get an idea of what it is that you need to change in yourself. In our case, it was the podcast. Some things I still need to
Right.
implement. But I tend to get a little lazy sometimes, John, and or busy. I think it's more busyness than laziness, to be honest with you. I'm just in so many different places,
It's
but there are
laziness.
things I want to do to the show. I'm just winging it.
It's
In all reality, it really is. I'm running constantly, so I have all these ideas of things I want to do, and it's just I got to focus. So and we've had shows on this talking about focus and taking action.
Yeah, it's quite easy to be overwhelmed when you have so many choices. Especially with the way the speed of information these days. We have so much information at our fingertips now, and we're really as smart as our phones. You know, it, there's really no bets anymore about who's right and who's wrong anymore in conversations, because all you have to do is look on your phone and you can get the answer, in a heartbeat.
That
So,
happened to me last night. Last night, uh, my son Hunter and I went and saw the new X-Men movie, right?
okay.
So at the very end, they have a Marvel usually does the after credits um little clip,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there was one little part in there, and it mentioned a
You're
certain villain,
Don't
right?
give it
That
away, man.
no,
Don't give
I'm
it
not gonna
away.
say, but it had a name, and I was like, I don't know what that name is, and I thought for a second, I go, oh, I know who that villain is, and I was trying to explain it to my son, and he was like, no, I don't know who that is, and I'm like, you have an action figure of him, you've had it since you were like 3, and he's like, I still can't picture what it is, and then we started talking about the movie and had the continuity of it, right, and I was like, you know, I there was a character called the Angel in it that was also in one of the previous ones back, like at X-Men 2 or 3, I forget which one it was. And he was like, no, Dad, those aren't related. And I go, yeah, it's there's continuity to it. And he was like, no, they're not. That's I don't know what you're thinking. And so we got home, and sure, what was the first thing I do? Type on the computer, and I go, boom, look, all the X-Men movies in a row, they are related. And he was
Did
like,
you say boom or did you say bam?
maybe. I probably said kapow.
Y-
Yeah. And
You
he
know,
was like, okay.
you know, sometimes it's you're not even asking the questions. Maybe the answers to personal change are coming to you. For instance, back when I was in college, one of my dear friends kind of sat me down and told me I was acting like a jerk. I know I've talked about this before, but I wasn't asking him if I was being a jerk, or if there's something I could do better. This information just came to me. He thought it was serious enough to call me up and say, "Hey, sit down. I want to talk to you about something." And as he was telling me that I'm such a jerk, like a good friend does, um, it makes you wonder. It makes you deny. Really, I think the first instinct, natural instinct, is to throw up a shield and say and deny it, and just let that stuff, let whatever they're saying bounce off of you, and you just say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not a jerk. But and which I did that. But the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about what a good friend he was, to sit down with me and tell me straight up, no, just that was a swift kick in my ass right there. Um, he told me what was up and how I was acting, and that if I continued acting that way, I would be I was I was going down a path that I might not be able to return to. And he was absolutely right. I was being arrogant. I was being a jerk. I was being a punk. Whatever the negative word was, I was doing it, and I didn't even know it.
Right. So you have to back it up. You can't just, if he would have said you're just being a jerk and didn't explain why, then there would have been some issue, like you wouldn't have known
right.
what to change. You would have been like, this guy's, he's a jerk, he's calling me names and, for why, what reason. But if they're actually helping and it's constructive criticism, and people aren't always open to constructive criticism,
Yeah,
they really aren't.
Yeah, and that's true. And on that same, on that same note, you can't just blindly accept what people say either, because perhaps they have an agenda, or a hidden agenda. They're trying to get you to do something, maybe that you don't want to. There could be all sorts of reasons why they would try to influence you or persuade you. And we talk about this in the laws of power, that this is as old as mankind. We try to People try to influence each other for one reason or another. It could be for a very good reason, like my friend did, or it could be for a bad reason. So you really do need to give that some consideration and some thought about why that person would say that to you. And the more I thought about it with my friend, I realized he has nothing to gain. He has everything to lose. In that, if he's being a jerk to me, I'm not going to be his friend, and I'll walk away from that. But that was not the point. He was being honest and open with me, and he made himself vulnerable in that, by doing that.
When I was younger, I remember like back in my 20s, I asked one of my friends what would they do if they were me, right? I was at for something about a relationship or something like that, and he goes, "Oh, I'd lose 20 pounds and get a tan." And I was like, "You son of a bitch! That's not what I was asking."
And then you went on the diet. Then you got the spray tan.
No, I took tanning pills I took tanning pills because I'm light skinned. I'm Irish and Scottish background, right? And it was a curse being growing up in South Florida, because I had light hair, light eyes, and light skin. And so one time, me and my friend Benito, who really, he was Cuban, he had naturally dark skin, but he just didn't want to go out in the sun. So we bought all these tanning pills that you'd find in the back of a bodybuilding magazine, right? It's called cafazothin, right? And basically, it's like a beta carotene extract. So we loaded up on these things, and nothing happened, right? And I was like, maybe we need to take
orange.
Maybe we need to take more, right? So we doubled the dose. And one morning I woke up, I looked in the mirror, and I go, "Hey, wow, I look pretty good. It's working." Then I looked at my hands and feet, and my hands and feet were orange, John, like orange as orange could be. And because what happens is it stores in your fat, your fat deposits, and supposedly, I guess, so you have the pads in your hands and your feet, that's more fatty tissue there. So my hands and my feet were bright orange, And I called Benito, and he was like, "Hey, I look like a munchkin," like Loompa Loompas, Oompa Loompas, right? And I remember driving through a drive-through one time, and I stuck my hand out to get my change, and this girl goes, she like didn't take it at first. She goes, "Oh my God!" I said, "Don't worry, I got nothing on my hands. It's my color of my hands." And she's like, "Hold on." She's like calling some other girl that works there. "Come look at this man's hand." And I was just like, okay, I need to stop taking these things.
What, Tom, when you touch things, did it wear off? Did you
No, it wasn't, because it wasn't self tanner. It was an actual pill, man. In fact, I remember it was right before I got into radio, and I was young, and I was doing a live broadcast, and I went to go shake the disc jockey's hand, right? And ironically, it was at it was a Miami Wings place. It was kind of like Hooters down here, right? And the guy jumped back, and he wouldn't shake my hand. He goes, "Oh, you got wing sauce on your hand?" And I go, "No, I don't. My hands are that color." And he just thought I was crazy. He was like, "What?"
He was partially true. Big orange.
Yeah, so
I remember
don't take
those
tanning pills unless you want orange hands and feet.
So going back, about living life on your own terms, and that's what this show is really about. It's understanding the terms of your own life, and those terms could be thoughts or belief or some other thing that is significant in your life. So diet is certainly a term that you can negotiate. You can make changes to your diet, and if you're experiencing some type of health issue, then and it is possibly diet, you can eliminate those things from your diet and see what the difference is. And I noticed this back when I was doing the paleo diet. Now I fell off the wagon, and what's interesting is that I'm not allergic to the grains, which they say to give up with the paleo diet. I thought that I did because I noticed a difference when I gave up breads and other things that have flour in them. It would kind of make me sick to my stomach, but I recognize now that it really wasn't so much the flour; it was the milk products. So I'm drinking almond milk now. I switched from milk, cow's milk, to almond milk, and my wife thinks it's really funny to call it nut juice.
I'm gonna have to go say that to my wife, because she drinks that stuff all the time. But the almond milk, I'm saying.
Yeah, the almond milk rocks. I mean, I love it. It has a lot of vitamin D, vitamin E, as well as twice as much calcium as cow's milk. So I'm loving it. So I'm actually drinking.
Does it taste like milk?
It has a consistency like milk. Yeah, it does. It has a slight almond taste, but you can get it in vanilla flavored, chocolate flavored.
Yeah, she gets the chocolate one, I know.
The vanilla sweetened tastes a lot like eggnog.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but you know what? I don't
So
get
it has the same consistency. It's not like drinking like milk flavored water.
No, not. It's like drinking whole milk, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good. You put it in your cereal, and I can't really even tell the difference.
Not that I really don't drink milk that much. I did have a little glass right before this show because I had some chocolate. There was some Hershey Kisses out there, and I polished off the last 3 that was sitting in a bowl. And
man, you're killing me, because I'm not supposed to have chocolate either. And every night I'd have a Guinness and have a little bit of Hershey's dark chocolate because I love that stuff. But I've given that up, and we'll try to see what happens. But I would not know. They say that the cow's milk is the eighth largest. Is it largest allergen to the adult population? It's one of the top 8 allergens.
Yeah, my wife Jen had problems with it where she quit drinking cow's milk, and she had eczema on her ears forever, like ever since she was little. and they could never get rid of it. It was just a condition she lived with. And once she stopped drinking milk, it went away.
Yeah, and I'm noticing too, like differences in my skin is a little different. I had some like kind of like rosacea up in my cheeks a little bit. You know, I'm Irish, so I'm expecting to have a little red cheeks. From my drinking my Guinness, but you know, I'm seeing these small minor changes, and it really just comes from renegotiating your terms, changing your diet, uh, changing some of your habits. You know, what you don't really realize it until you've taken a step back. Um, I've noticed now, like we grilled out recently, and I made hamburgers, grilled out hamburgers on the grill, and I didn't put cheese on there. Can't have any dairy products. And what I noticed is that I know how I feel when I have a cheeseburger, and it's like, excuse me, it's like being uncomfortably full, where my stomach would kind of do flip flops after. But the last time I ate just as much as I normally eat, and my stomach felt great. So, you know, I think that's really the takeaway is just, you know, diet is, I mean, if you want to control the terms of your life, you need to be willing to ask questions that you might not be really prepared for the answers. You might not get the answers you really want. You know, I thought it might be something really easy or something that I don't like, but it turns out that all these things that I love are, you know, are harming me and causing inflammation in my body. So I had to make a choice. You know, I could continue on. I could continue on. I wasn't miserable. And in fact, I was telling my neighbor about it. And he's like, "A light, not drink beer." He's like, "I'd rather just be miserable." You know, you know, and some people make that choice, and that's certainly up to you. But for me, I want to last a long time, and I figure that it's better to stay in shape, and it's actually easier if you do what it takes now to stay in shape rather than, you know, letting it go 10 more years, 20 more years, and or develop some type of chronic illness that cannot be reversed. You know, I think at this point in my life, I can make these changes and really greatly benefit from the change. So, you know, think about this episode. You know, let us know what you think about this. I know we're going to open this up to answers we might not want to hear, but that's okay. Contact us. Give us a swift kick in the ass if we need it. And
Absolutely. And do not forget to go to a swiftkickinass.com. You know, all big changes start with a swift kick in the ass. So why don't you sign up for our free courses, our ebooks, and our videos that can be found in the free membership site. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, just go to the main page, and on the top, you're going to see, click right here for free access. All right, John, you click it, you go to a landing page, and it tells you what you're going to get. You click it one more time, and it comes to what looks like an order form. Right? There's no money involved. You don't have to put in your PayPal. You don't have to put in your credit card. It's just a way that we process so you can get into our membership site. All you have to do is put your name and your last name. You can make something up if you want and put in your email. The email is the only important thing, and hit checkout, and boom, you'll be into our membership site. You'll get access to all the stuff we have and the stuff we're going to put in there. So please check it out. I'm Tom.
This is John.
And we thank you for listening. Till then.
Catch you
Peace.
next time. Peace.